Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel, the Roaring Peacock LUFC fan channel. I'm not sure why you've clicked on this. We don't want to do it. It was a horrible game to watch. I don't know why you'd need to rewatch it. I guess the only thing that you've come here for is a virtual hug. So there you go. We're suffering on together. All right, here we go. The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast. Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Podcast. This is the match review of Leeds United. Greatest team in the world. 0 Aston Villa, Shithouses FC 1.
Wasters FC.
Yeah. So my name's Adonis, and you know me as @the_Adelites on Twitter, and it's a very good hello from me. And joining us to dissect this damp squib of a game is JP Loco? Is that
JPL Loco?
At JPL Loco, Josh Pearson.
Hello.
And another Peacock making his debut is Ryan Wignall. What's your tag, Ryan?
It's at Ryan Wignall 1.
There you go. So first thoughts then, gentlemen.
We looked to get up front foot straight away, and I thought we had a Rafinha got on ball, and he looked to really get us going, and I thought, hey, we might be on it here. Then they got a fluky fucking goal, man. He's fallen over basically as Watkins, and I started laughing. Next minute, balls it back at the frigging net. And then from there, we haven't looked anything like as normal selves. We tried and huffed and puffed, but it wasn't there tonight at all. I just couldn't see us ever scoring, to be honest.
Okay. Josh?
Yeah, I can't argue with what Wiggy said there. The huffed and puffed is probably the only way to describe the 85 minutes after they scored, to be honest. I couldn't tell whether Watkins was trying to do that, because he looked like he was looking at, from the reverse angle, it looked like he was looking at El Ghazi, but he's definitely slipped and kind of hobbled it to him, and then they only had a quick look at offside, and he looked onside, to be fair. Quite a good finish, but we looked sluggish, I think, and they set up really well to defend after that point. We look so much better when we get the first goal every time we do it, and I think that early goal kind of knocked us a bit.
It's always a threat, isn't it, when you've got like some kind of set piece from the opposition, and then the ball's gone forward out of the box, and there's this impetus to, okay, everybody push out. The goalkeeper's usually like, out, get out, push out, get forward. And then as soon as they get the ball, then they've put it back. And so that the defenders are like in two minds whether to push out and listen to the goalkeeper or to stick with their man.
I think they did push out quite well. I think, was it Cooper was fighting with Mings in the middle, who played him on? And I think he was trying to say goal side of Mings, but didn't get out as quickly as everyone else, otherwise he would have been offside. It was just that there's probably a foot in it, wasn't there, at most, between him being offside. It's a bit unfortunate, but I thought we dealt. Did they have another chance apart from that? Really?
No.
They had 5 shots, I think, in the first half. 3 on target, something like that. It could have been more.
Yeah,
7.
I think
7 shots.
I think Medley made a couple of good saves in that first half.
El Ghazi shot quite a lot from what I can remember, but again, I don't think they had what you'd call a really good chance after that one.
No. Yeah, nothing clear cut.
No,
but
and
we
neither
didn't
did
either. Well, Rafinha's header at the end, probably the best chance we had, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Just after I'd been slagging off Jackie Harrison, he produced a nice little cross for Rafinha.
We just lacked a lot of quality in that final third, and with Southampton, we sat back, they had the ball, and we hit them on the transition. Yeah. We made those quick balls up to the forwards in the Southampton game in the second half because we were playing the pitch, and that's what they talked about with Villa. Villa sat back, and let us come to them. And we needed that quality in the final third that Pablo brings. And I thought we waited far too long to take Roberts off. He didn't have a good game, did he?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I think at half time I was calling for Pablo, and I think that was the right move. Pablo for Roberts at half time.
Yeah.
Roberts has had his chance now, and he looks like he's got something, and then he gets to the final, really the last bit, the final third, and it so lets him down. It's a shame, really. But
it is a shame. That 4 or 5 games he had just before lockdown, he was unplayable. Especially that Hull, it was Hull, wasn't he? He scored a couple. He was brilliant, and he came in for Bamford, and everyone was like, "Oh, I've actually got, forget about Augustine. We've got Roberts who can back up Bamford if needed." Because I think Bamford was going through a bit of a tough time himself with goals. But yeah, I think if this is his chance, and it is his chance, Roberts' last 4 or 5 games he started, he's not taking it for me.
No.
And I think if he wants to keep him as a squad player and a backup, then that's fine. But he's a young lad; he needs to go and play somewhere, doesn't he? Really, probably in the Championship. Would have thought.
I felt it was really naive. A lot of what he does is he gives a lot of free kicks away, needless ones, and just naivety is the word for me for that performance, because it was very bitty, and we just played into their hands. We gave them a lot of free kicks away, and they were flopping they were alien flopping all over the place. Targett was the worst one to
stay on the pitch. Targett, actually.
Yeah,
he had that yellow, and then he had a couple of fouls after that. And I thought the one was it Rafinha he booted down in the far corner. Yeah. He was a bit lucky, but yeah, we weren't great, were we?
No, Click was doing that a lot as well. And speaking of Click and Roberts, every time they get the ball on the edge of the area and they're about to have a shot, do you feel confident?
No.
When was the last time Click scored from a good shot?
I don't know.
Middlesbrough last season at home. That one,
Middlesbrough, I think.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, that was a great goal. Don't get me wrong, but he went through the season before that. He banged one against Sheffield Wednesday from about 30 yards. There's a couple more, but that
Liverpool at Anfield.
His shooting's completely gone to pot.
Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, very good goal.
But that was inside the area, and he kind of.
It was a good finish. That I'll give him that.
It's a very good finish, but not similar to the ones like the Nottingham Forest goal, for example, that I think came from a short corner. And I believe that's the only time in the last 3 years that a short corner has worked for us.
Yeah, we did a couple tonight. That Costa one was all right, wasn't it? He got a bit unlucky when he shot on it. He just married it into 50-odd players that were stood in front of him.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that one. I don't mind the one to the edge of the area where we have a shot. It's these short ones where we start faffing around with it. We never get a cross in. And then we inevitably give the ball away or send it back to Millier.
Yeah, I think Roberts did it in first half to give the ball away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And then he was chasing back. I think he
chaos.
found it.
Yeah, they were really chasing back, and then obviously gives a foul. And then
right.
And she just screaming out just to swing it in box and get Cooper's head on it or whatever.
I think the last short corner that if I had any hair would be tearing mine out was the one Phillips messed up. I think it was against Newcastle when we beat them 5-2, and they scored from it. I think, and he just passed it straight to their player, and then they broke and scored. And I was absolutely furious even though we won, I was still annoyed about it. About 3 hours later, when I was trying to get to sleep, I was like, "Why has he done that?"
Yeah. The corners weren't very good today at all, actually. But what was worse for me was Llorente rolling around on the ground.
It's just not Leeds, is it?
No.
We do not need that. Not at all.
I gave him the benefit of the doubt the first time, but when I saw him do it at least once more, I thought, come on.
It's embarrassing. Adrian, was that the last time?
Yeah. Yeah.
If there was a crowd in, I feel like he'd get the message from us not to be doing that.
I don't think he'd do it again.
I do wonder if Cooper or Ayling will pull him up in the change room and be like, if you do an Ayling flop all you like, but that rolling is just, it's not right.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. they were worse at it. They were diving worse, but the play acting, the rolling around, the Oscar nomination, we can do without that. I think Ryan put it best. It's just not Leeds, is it?
No.
Nah, I don't want to see that on our pitch. Not from our voice.
No. I mean, that's the closest we got to a funny moment. But it wasn't funny to me.
What about Millie getting up for the corner at the end? I was chuckling to myself.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't often come for our corners when he's defending them, never mind get involved for theirs. So I was hoping he'd just bury it randomly, but he didn't.
I thought he was going to stand offside like Click did a few games ago. And was just hoping that he didn't do that. There was a couple of penalty shouts, one for them. It hit Ayling's hand. Was that a handball? Was that a penalty?
No chance.
No. I don't even remember that.
Early in the season, but no.
Okay. And there was a penalty shout from Bamford right at the end during that corner that you were talking about, Josh. Was that a penalty? Bamford getting wrestled to the ground? No. Okay.
No. The only thing I would say was there was one where Rafinha got the ball in the bottom corner, and I think he slightly overhit his touch, and then Mings came across to just smash the ball out. And I thought, and he kind of pulled out, and I get why, because Mings is a big lad, don't want to take a boot and get injured. But if he gets there first and nicks it past him, that's a definite penalty. And I think it's not quite as bad as the Pervader one where he did get fouled at, was it Chelsea, I think, and he didn't go down. But you just think sometimes we're just we're not, using Graham Souness's word cute enough sometimes to win a foul or win a penalty. A bit too honest for our own good sometimes, but never mind. We probably would have missed going off tonight, a bit lackluster.
So, is that it then? Can we...
Man of the match?
Can we euthanize this podcast and enjoy our week off?
Thank Christ we've got a week off.
Yeah, we need a week off to get some of these bloody injuries back.
Yep. Okay, so man of the match. Anybody?
I think we've spoken about it already, but I think Llorente for me. He looked so comfortable on ball. He brought it out from back really well. He marshalled their players really well, I think, as well at back. We never looked like in trouble of conceding a goal. I just think for me, it might have been better off in the centre DM role instead of strike and move strike back. Just the way that he was stroking ball around that from the back as well. I just shouted and do it for me at back, but Llorente, man of match for me, definitely.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I think Llorente was the man of the match for us. Cooper was good as well, to be fair. But I think correct me if I'm wrong, but when we bought Llorente, I think there was a talk of him doing the CDM role sometimes, similar to Koch actually. I think as well. He can play it, and he has done I think he's done it for Germany, hasn't he? But you can tell he is a good passer. He did a really nice one to Roberts, I think, on the edge of the box. That went nowhere, obviously, but he's a good. You can tell he's a good footballer. He's definitely a good player. Excited to see more of him. Actually, that's 2 in a row he's done now. So, well done to him for getting through it. 2 in a week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I can't give it to Llorente. Simply for that play acting.
Yeah,
that's terrible. That immediately no. And I feel like there was a lot of dawdling on the ball. I felt, but I did think he was slowing it down a bit too much. And when Click came back, like Strout played terribly, and it felt like to me he should have been taken off much sooner. He was trying to play more progressive balls, but he was giving the ball away and he was looking out of sorts. I just don't think that. I just don't think he can play CDM. No. And I thought he should have gone way sooner. I wouldn't have even tried it after the first time we played Villa, and he had to be taken off after 20 minutes. Shaq played so much better there, but when Click was put there, we started progressing the ball up quicker, and that's what we needed. When I put out the my hopeful lineup, and it did have Llorente in that defensive midfield role, and I think he would have been better. But even then, he was just too slow on the ball. We were way too slow. I mean, you talked about it, huffing and puffing. We've talked about being sluggish, and it just, the ball wasn't getting up to the forwards quick enough. And I know they scored early and they sat back and they shit housed and they time wasted, but we can be so much better in that final third.
I mean, we did have a couple of chances to break, and those you're thinking, right, this is it. This is where we're really good in the transition. And I think Harrison had one, and the ball kind of got stuck in his feet. I think then he did actually do a good cross. I think that was for Rafinha at the end, but yeah, it's just like we just couldn't get that momentum at all, and the ball was too slow coming out. There's one again at the end where we kind of transition out of defence, and then Alioski just passed the ball straight into touch. He just like, that was a 5-yard ball, mate. What are you doing? That's just killed us there. You can see everyone just heads go down a bit. You think, yeah, when we're flying at teams on the break like Newcastle and West Brom to some extent, and teams, we're thinking we can do this here, but it was just a bit slow. And I think that they did shit house a bit and fall over, but we just weren't on it, I don't think.
So now this is the segment where we read out your post-match thoughts. So I put a tweet out at Peacock's Raw on Twitter, and we read out some of your replies. It just says post-match thoughts. Ryan, have you got one there?
I've got one from at Ewan Metcalf, and he says, Leeds lacked quality and momentum from the start. Our transitions were too slow and Villa were organised and focused. Enough to keep us arm's length all game. I think a draw would have been a fair result, but we go again. Positives were Llorente, he was very good. Negatives, Roberts, Costa. Can't start again.
This is Rage Against the Casilla. Flashbacks of Brighton, nothing got going. Robertson's strike were terrible. Less said about the ref, the better. Bamford was a passenger for most of the game. Thought Rafinha was poor for the first time. Need a response next week, but it's in London, so God knows. Hard to argue any of that. I think Bamford was up against their two centre-halves. He had no support whatsoever, so I'm not sure passenger. I thought Rafinha was fine, but he didn't have that moment of brilliance that he usually produces something crazy, doesn't he? And we can't just rely on him all the time. I think that's where your Rodrigos and your Hernandez come in. It's the backup can't be just let's just give the ball to Rafinha and see what he does. It's easy to fall back onto that.
Yeah, it did feel a lot like that, didn't it? Give the ball to Rafinha, and that was basically plan A, B, and C. Okay. Pete Walshy at LUFC Walshy, he said, early goal killed us. Villa always had 7 behind the ball after that. Missed Calvin and Rodrigo in a big way in this game. Lacked their quality in the game. Couldn't agree more, Pete. Ryan, you got another one?
Yeah, I've got John O'Connor at Rollover Boy. Someone in the Calvin role is still killing us. Everything went wide and we couldn't get anything going at all. Calvin would have had an absolute field day. Yeah. Sometimes we had so much time on the ball in that CDM role, and I just think he'd have been spraying balls all over the place today, and I really do agree that if we do need to look to sign someone to really play in that role when Phillips is not available.
Agreed.
So the final one I can see is from at Dappin Richard. Sorry, Richard. Strike is not a fucking central defensive midfielder. I know that. You know that. My mum knows that. But for some reason, Bielsa doesn't. I think Bielsa does. But there is literally no one else who can play that at this point. So we're struggling, aren't we?
Yeah,
I think we're all agreed on that.
Yeah. I do feel like Marcelo has faith in players and their ability to adapt to positions beyond some of our ability to have faith in them. I mean, he's Marcelo Bielsa, so at the end of the day, we can't argue too much. The final one then, Paul at Psych Squirrel, he's put a GIF that says, "The Lord is testing me," and he's just written, "When I see Roberts lining up a shot on goal." So post a little bit from the post-match press conferences then. So Dean Smith has said very few teams will limit Leeds to so few chances. we got our tactics spot on by restricting the space for them to play in. It's a funny way of saying we played anti-football to grind out a result, isn't it?
He's a prick. He's an absolute prick.
Oh, dear. Is that entertainment? Was that entertainment? Watching Villa defend a 1-0 lead for 85 minutes.
Yeah, got the goal, parked the bus, and popped off home, didn't they?
Yeah.
One of my mates messaged me before and said it was a bit like going back to the Championship days where someone would score against us and then just do whatever it took for 80-odd minutes to get a result. And it did feel like that, didn't it? It was just us huffing and puffing to break down that kind of 10-man defence. But, yeah, I mean, all these coaches who get one over Bielsa, he should probably take it as a compliment that, everyone says they become tactical masterminds, don't they, for 90 minutes, these lads. Dean Smith, Potter, the lad at Swansea, I remember he had a go, didn't he? Lampard, obviously, tactical genius when they pull something off against Bielsa. Lampard's Hail Mary in the playoff semi, just, he was a genius, wasn't he, for going to a diamond. What a load of rubbish. It was 2 defensive errors that went back into the game, but whenever they get a result, it's like, yeah, we got it spot on. Whenever they get absolutely shat on, it's like, oh, well, what can we do? Well,
yeah, speaking of getting shat on, Frank Lampard, with the changing room got shat on. That's how much he celebrated that. And the other thing is, as well, Josh, is like, before the games, they're always like, oh, but, Bielsa's overhyped in the media and all of that. And then if they get a result, then it's all like, oh, I've gone one up on Bielsa, this great tactician. A load of nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but I think there was one, it might have been Swansea actually last season, when we must have had 20 or 30 shots, I think, and they got lucky. And they got a goal like in the last minute or something, and they beat us. Then they came out and they were like, yeah, that's what we planned for. Like, did you fuck? What are you on about? You planned for us to just be really profligate in front of goal. What the hell? That's the weirdest plan. Please don't do any more planning if that is your plan.
Yeah. We plan for them to have an off day. Okay. Phil Hayes, little summary then. Leeds 0, Villa 1, a mess of a game at Ellen Road, and no spectacle. We won't be writing home about this. Poor from Leeds. Should I do it in his accent? Especially in second half when they huffed and puffed and showed very little quality. I'm not very good at Phil Hay. Should stop that.
I don't think he's that aggressive. I don't think he's quite as aggressive as that, is he, Phil? To be fair,
I can't do Scottish any other way. It just comes
out. I know, everyone goes.
It's the only way to do Scottish.
Everyone goes Alex McLeish, don't they? Like full fucking mental Glaswegian when he's not. To be fair, but.
Villa had good shape, defended well, and killed the game with bits of time wasting. El Ghazi's early goal settled it. Not a great day.
Bits of time wasting is a good way to say 85 minutes of time wasting.
Yeah, I thought 5 minutes was conservative at the end, but I don't think it mattered because we could have played for another 2 days and probably not scored.
That's probably fair.
Yeah, just felt like one of those days, didn't it? Okay, so final thoughts then. Ryan?
I just think we need to put it to bed. We weren't on it. We weren't on it today whatsoever. Like you say, we could have played all day and not scored a goal. We've tried. Roberts now, he's had a chance. It's got to change. I'd like to see Pablo start again, maybe next. And central defensive midfield's still a problem for us when Phillips don't play. I think it's there for all to see. But yeah, I think just forget about this game. We weren't on it. Phillips shithoused us, and let's roll on to Monday night in London. Oh, dear.
Yes. Oh, joy. Okay. And Josh, final thoughts?
Well, the word from the dressing room is that Llorente slipped on his way to the shower and is still sliding and rolling around the corridors. So, yeah, good game apart from that for the lad. But can't disagree with it. We just put it down. That's it. It's another one of those weird mid-table Premiership games that we're gonna have to get used to. I think doesn't mean anything. Doesn't matter. Fuck it. We beat them 3-0 away. Beat them on aggregate, didn't we? So. That's what matters.
Yeah, there's maybe some potential for some breakdancing as a kind of bit part-time casual role on the side for Llorente. And you mentioned him slipping on the way to the showers. At least he'd get good coverage, wouldn't he? I mean, be on the floor, but...
Yeah, well, hopefully Frank Lampard's mess has been cleaned up from the floor, and he's not rolling around in that shit.
Because that's what he slipped on, presumably.
I'd imagine so. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. Frank Lampard got sacked. He's out of a job, isn't he? So
tactical genius.
Yeah,
Frank Lampard.
Okay, final thoughts from me. We're 10th. We got 35 points. These games don't matter that much, I don't think. I think the target was 17th. So I still feel like it's been a great season, and we need to just forget about this game, because it's not going to get prettier the more you look at it.
Our big rivals Brighton lost again, I think, didn't they?
They did indeed. West Brom. Brighton missed 2 penalties, so we can take some joy in that. And just think about that. I mean, I know that we've got Koch and Llorente now, but Ben White wouldn't go amiss, would he? Where would we be if we'd have got Ben White, do you think? And he'd have stayed fit? 9th.
I think these games...
Probably 9th.
Okay, so that was our match review of a very, difficult game. Difficult game to watch, difficult game to review. Never going to watch this game again. In 10 years' time, is anyone going to listen to this podcast? No, because it's not a classic. So with all that in mind, gentlemen, let's have your Twitter tags and we'll say our goodbyes very quickly. So, Ryan?
I'm on Twitter at RyanWignall1. Give us a follow if you can. And goodbye from me.
Perfect. JP?
I'm at JP El Loco on Twitter. Don't bother following me.
Right. And I'm at the Adelites, and I'm pretty much in the same boat JP is. So it's entirely your discretion. And we are at Peacock's Roar, so you can give us a follow if you want, and find us on YouTube. And join in the fun on the comments. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I think we're at 730 now, so not too shabby after 6 months of doing this. So no time at all, really. Thank you very much for joining us, and let's hope we've got a better match review coming up next week, and hopefully some special match review for International Women's Day. So it's a very goodbye from us. Enjoy your week off. I know I will. Bye-bye. Bye. Come on, Leeds. Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. A very special thanks to Barney Stewart, Cook Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.
So many games to play, don't care what's on your mind.